Okay, everyone, we're going to do some very basic PowerPoint photo editing just to show you what the features are from PowerPoint. So I'm on my main slide here. I'm just going to remove these boxes because I don't need them. If you ever want to insert an image, obviously it's very straightforward. We're just going straight in there, pictures, or you can even drag and drop, pretty straightforward. Now, whenever you insert a picture, you'll always get a few different design ideas come up on the right. These can be good if you're lacking inspiration, but I don't need them today. Now, when I actually have the image and I click on it, you'll see it says picture format here. And there's a lot of different options that you can choose here. Transparency basically means if you've got something behind the image, let's say we've got some text and we want to bring the image over the top of it, that will make it transparent. But we also have artistic effects. You can choose different options here. I have loads of different things. If you want to change the color, maybe make it black and white, maybe have a tint. In this example, we've got a lot of colors that we're working with, but if we had, for example, tiles or squares, you'll then notice the difference there. If we want to make any corrections, this is quite cool. We can make it brighter. We can sharpen or soften the image. But these are default settings, right? And I'll show you in a minute, there's another way that you can actually change the brightness and the correction there with something like that. If we want to crop the image, we can click here. We can crop to aspect ratio. So if you know that there's a certain frame that works really well for a picture that you're using, you just click here, and then you've got the aspect ratio here of 16:9. And then if I want to confirm the crop, I just click it again. And there we go, we've cropped it now to 16.9, actually, which means we're working on 16.9 for the normal PowerPoint slide. So then actually if we've cropped it, we will then bring it over like that and it will be the perfect size. Now, of course, with some of this it is very basic, but there's a few more advanced features that you can use. If I right click and I click format picture, then this is when I've got all of the main elements here. So if I want to make a border to it, of course I can click here. You'll see there's a border now to the image. If I make that a bit bigger, you'll then start to see the border come through. Now, when I'm doing any borders, I'll be honest, I only like very basic line, let's say maybe 1 point, maybe even less. And even in that case, I do like it to be subtle. Now, other things that you've got like shadows and reflections. So if we, for example, choose this, we choose here, you can see there's a very basic shadow here. And then you can obviously make the size of the shadow bigger. Obviously, it gets a bit ridiculous with some of them. So usually you're only going to go a few percentage points to make that work. And then the blur as well, if you make that bigger. But actually, the more subtle, the better with all these kind of things. So really, we're only going to have maybe a very small blur with a few, the size very similar to the actual size of the image. If we want to change the contrast, though, here we've got this box. We can do picture correction, so we can make it sharper or looser. My computer is a bit slow when doing something like this, so if I want to make the image a bit more blurred or a bit more sharp, I can move this slider here in and out. So here we'll just show what it looks like. Obviously we've blurred it there, and now we've made it back to normal. And then the brightness is quite good because one feature that I often use is, let's say I'm actually putting this as a full size. If I decide, okay, I'm going to make the darkness maybe like -40 is often quite a good place to start. Sorry, I've done 40 there. -40. And then I decide, okay, I'm going to do this as my title slide. So what I'm going to do here, just some very basic word font editing. So let's say here I do my title and then my subtitle, I'll make it a bit smaller, like this. Well, that can be a very nice title page. So something very, very straightforward like that, which can be quite good. And then the final thing that I did just want to show with the picture editing is there are some presets as well. These are really, really straightforward. So I'm just going to go back and just make this all 0%, and I'm going to take away the shadow that I've put in. I'm just going to make this a bit smaller here so you can see. So when I'm on picture format, they have something called quick styles. These are really, really straightforward to use because you just click and change. And if you like a certain image, then of course you can then keep it. So on a white background, you can choose a very, very slight, it's quite subtle, makes it look as though the image is coming off the picture because you've got a very, very slight shadow and you've also got a white border. So it reminds me of almost like a postcard. So these very, very simple quick styles can be useful as well. Some of them I don't really like, so something like this, really don't like that, looks like Windows 98. Or alternatively something like this, which is kind of also like it's coming off the page. Can look good depending on what you do with the rest of your page. Maybe if it's on its own, for example, I think that looks okay. But if you've got 20 different images all doing different things, or you've got a lot of writing next to it, you've got to be really careful that you're going to do something really bad. And here it's quite cool. You've got a little yellow box, so I'll just make this bigger. So if, for example, I've got this in the center of the page, if I move this yellow box, it changes how much of a circle there is around this border. So if you want something really, really subtle, you could do something like this. And it almost looks like a fridge magnet now. So just some very, very basic video editing, photo editing tips for when you insert a picture. And hope you like it. Cheers.